All right. So we ready? Okay. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. On behalf of MART, we'd like to thank you all for attending tonight's public meeting on our bus routes and the changes we're about to propose in Fitchburg and Leominster. And as you see in the top of this slide, our mission statement is to serve people by getting them where they need to go to lead their lives. And this is really what MART is all about. And we take this very seriously. And so tonight, we're hoping you're going to see some changes that we're proposing that are going to make our bus routes better for people. Because we know that we need to do a better job. Our routes have remained rather static for the last several years. And there's just many things that are happening that are different in this city of Leominster, Fitchburg also is a routes connector. And we want to do things so you get into our routes better when you want to use them and where you want to use them. So that's kind of what tonight is all about. And really what we want to do tonight, the most important part of this meeting is to hear from all of you. We want to hear your thoughts about what you're seeing, some new ideas that you would like to share with us about what you feel you may want to include, because these are proposed bus routes. These are not final bus routes by any means. And then this is your chance to have your voice heard. We want to start being a much more public-centered organization that meets the needs of the people we serve in our 25 communities. This is really the start of this. We did something similar to this in Gardner in 2024. And between 23 and our last fiscal year in 25, our ridership was up 77% of all our services. So that made a significant difference. And we're hoping we can accomplish that sort of thing here in Leominster and Fitchburg over time. And so that's what we want to do. We're going to ask that if you could hold your questions until we finish the presentation, and then we're going to open it up, and you'll have plenty of time. So don't think we're going to have a presentation you're not going to be heard. We will have that time, and we'll keep this meeting going tonight until everybody gets to share what they want to. So what I'd like to do now is turn this over to our HR manager, Chastity Goitier, and she's going to translate my opening remarks into Spanish for us. So Chastity, please.
Hello. Muy buenas noches a todos y bienvenidos. Mi nombre es Chastity Goitier, yo soy la gerente de recursos humanos de MART, pero esta noche la servidora voy a servirle como traductora para español. En el nombre de MART, queremos agradecerle a todos ustedes por asistir a esta reunión pública. Esta noche sobre los cambios propuestos en la ruta de autobuses en Fitchburg y Leominster. En la parte superior de la pantalla pueden verificar nuestra declaración de misión. Dice, servir a las personas llevándolas a donde necesitan ir para llevar adelante sus vidas. Para nosotros en MART esto es bien importante y tomamos esta misión muy en serio. Esta es la razón por qué existimos para todos ustedes. Y esta noche le vamos a mostrarle cómo estaremos cambiando nuestro sistema de autotransporte para servir mejor a nuestras comunidades de Fitchburg y Leominster. Reconocemos que MART ha mantenido nuestra ruta de autobuses bastante estática durante los años. Realmente muchas cosas no han cambiado. Pero debemos mejorar eso. Debemos mejorar y hacer cambios que responden a las necesidades de las personas que cogen el autobús o que planifiquen a coger nuestro servicio. En la vida pública en cuanto a donde deseamos utilizar nuestros servicios de autobús. Así que esta noche verán nuestros diseños iniciales para la ruta propuesta y las razones por las que estamos considerando estos cambios. Recuerden que estas son rutas propuestas, no son nada definitivo. Y lo más importante, queremos escuchar de ustedes. Por eso estamos aquí, nuestros pasajeros y las personas que quieren utilizar nuestros servicios nuevamente. Esta es la oportunidad para usted tener la voz para decirnos a nosotros qué ustedes necesitan, porque realmente sin ustedes nosotros no vamos a funcionar. Si ustedes quieren que nosotros sabemos qué ustedes necesitan, este es el momento para ustedes tener nuestra voz. Le pedimos que reserven sus preguntas y comentarios hasta el final de la presentación y luego ver mucho tiempo suficiente para poder contestarla. Vamos a empezar.
Thank you, Chastity. So our agenda, as you'll see on this slide tonight, we're going to get into now. And if those of you who'd like a copy of this presentation, you can scan that QR code in, and that'll give you that as well. So we're going to begin tonight talking about why are these changes. I kind of indicated earlier that our bus routes have remained the same for far too long. Well, that's the main reason we're here. We need to make our bus routes more convenient, very good. And then we're going to get into a discussion of the specific routes. Our transit planner, Mike DeBoa, is going to get up and discuss those with you, and he'll show you the initial changes that we're going to make on the proposed bus routes. Then we're going to get into what going forward. We want to build the new MART. We really want to make a transit authority that makes a difference to our communities and really does things that meets your needs. And we're going to talk about that and how we're going to communicate with the cities and towns in a continuous improvement process. And lastly, this is why you're here tonight. Again, I'm going to stress that this is the important part of this meeting, is we want to hear from all of you. And we really want you to share what you think about what we're talking about, because we can still do things to make these routes even better. And so that's kind of what our intention is. So next up, Josh, move the slide. Our goals of our service changes. Why are we doing this essentially? You know, it's almost like transit 101 when we're looking at explaining things. The more frequently you have routes that are run in our loops, the more people will use them. Because if you just think about this, like you say you want to, many of our routes right now are like an hour and 5 minutes now. Well, let's say you're going to get up and you get something that happens at home. Oh, I can help a kid go to school, or I forgot something and go back to go to work. Well, then all of a sudden, oh, I missed my bus. Now you have to wait a whole another hour. And how, people don't want to leave their routes. And so what we're trying to do here is get routes that are going to be beginning the journey of getting us faster and better frequency. I just read something just coincidentally last night on LinkedIn that Raleigh in North Carolina were talking about how they made their routes 15 minutes. Now that's really ambitious from where we're starting right now, but they said their ridership over the last year is up 89%. And that's a truism that people will use the routes much more, the better they can get in to meet their life needs. So while some of these changes may be small in some routes now, they're all going to be improvements. And then there's just going to be a process and a journey we're going to engage in for the next several months and years to get this really to a very efficient system. And then we're going to talk about some places we're going to show up. There's some locations that we have very, very low ridership. We might have either nobody or one person a day. And you think about that, it might take 10 minutes to go to this one stop. So everybody else that's in the bus route is delayed 10 minutes to go to that stop. So that will speed up the routes and make them more efficient by changing a few places that are like that. And then we're going to get into reflecting some places and going to places that in Leominster, you're building in this great city and that may deserve more attention, such as new business developments, such as places where there's housing developments or new places where we can see ridership. One of the things we're going to be adding into this, and this was a suggestion from Mayor Mazzarella's team, was to do some ridership in the French Hills area that we didn't have before, and that'll connect to some supermarkets. And he was mentioning how often he sees people carrying grocery bags and stuff, and he stops sometimes and asks them, why aren't you using a bus? And they say it's too long. Just the point I was just making. So, there'll be some enhancements like that we're going to accomplish, and we'll see those things in a second. So in terms of our process, how do we arrive at this state where we made these changes? We didn't just go back to MART and sit in our offices in Fitchburg and cook up some scheme and Big Brother and Invest. We really went out and we did something that we used a lot of data in this. First, we did surveys in Fitchburg and Leominster, and we had 1,565 responses, which is excellent response rate for what we did. And that told us a lot of information about where people would like to go, where people would like changes made in our services, and things we could do better at MART. So that was one source of information. We also hired an outside consulting firm, Nelson Nygaard, And they went through what they thought they would recommend to accomplish this as well. And that was another data source. We also worked with the Montezuma Regional Planning Commission. And they were another group we used to consult with for outside information. So we did those things, and then we also interviewed all of our bus drivers. Because they're doing this stuff every day. They know this as well as anybody, and they recommended to us some things that maybe we had some spots on the routes that weren't as efficient for them to drive on, and to move over a street or something. Or they might have recommended, well, stop in this area isn't as safe as it could be if we move to another place. Or they also recommended some other ways or places we might go to. So that was a good source of data. We met with also stakeholder input. We did things like we met with the mayor's office. And they gave us some valuable information in Fitchburg, and as an example, I just gave for Mayor Mazzarella's team, when they recommended the French Hills area that came out of those meetings. And then we're doing things like we're doing tonight, we're having public meetings, and we're gonna also, we've outreach to some other organizations in the community that use our services. So in composite, that's how we got all this data, and we put it together for our initial bus route changes. And now I'm gonna turn this over to our transit planner, Michael Boa, and he's going to go through the individual route changes that we are working on, just to set the stage for you to understand this.
All right. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for coming for these changes, and we appreciate you using MART services. So to begin with, I'll go into the details of each change and each route, and the 10 by 10 changes we are making on each route and the reasons for making these changes. So if you look at the map, the blue shows the routes which match with my jacket. That is the route, and the red areas are the areas we are trying to discontinue. And the green are sections that we are proposing from the discontinued areas to use those areas. So if you look at the map, for the west section of the map, that's to your left where you are sitting. We are moving from Dulwich Street. Currently, the drivers use that street, and it's a difficult turn, so we are using West Street, which is safe. So for safety reasons, we are using that section. And the green that's showing Industrial Road, we are extending our service towards Industrial Road. So for this route, it goes from ITC, that is ITC, and we have one bus moving this way to your left, that westwards towards the Twin City Plaza, and we have the other bus also moving eastwards towards the Industrial Road. So whilst we have one bus going clockwise direction, we have the other bus going counterclockwise direction to make sure we have everybody connected to the major shopping centers and the major areas between Fitchburg and Leominster. So the other improvements we are making on this route is to extend access. So if you look at this section of the routes, we are extending access to Industrial Road. Currently, we go there, but we go there on intermittent times. But we realize that during the few times we've been there, we have a lot of riders using that spot for work trips, and also we realize that Fox Meadows apartments also faces that section of town. So this change is to account for that usage and our current ridership. Okay, so the next route on the table is route 2 and 9. So for route 2, it moves from the ITC through Leominster Hospital to the Monument Square. So from Monument Square, it continues to route 9. So route 9 continues from Monument Square through the Johnny Appleseed Plaza to Walmart. So it goes this way through the hospital to Monument Square, and it continues to Walmart. So for this route, the major changes we are making is to discontinue the RMB, because it takes about 15 minutes to go there anytime we go there, and we realize that we have a lot of riders going to Walmart as compared to the RMB. So increasing the frequency, we'll have more riders, we send more riders going to Walmart, and realize from the data we collected, we had limited, less than one person using that within a whole week. So we thought it will be more useful, and riders would like it, because during our survey by MART, we have respondents stating that our routes are longer. So we are trying our best way to take everybody where they need to go to live their lives faster, and also the same time, more frequency to where they need to go to. So for Route 2, the improvement is now we have an express on the Route 2. So between Fishbeck and Leominster ITC, you have between Fishbeck ITC and Monument Square, you need every 20 minutes you have a bus going towards Fishbeck or coming to Leominster, which is a great improvement, adding the express to this route. And for Route 9, the frequency that run has been improved to 40 minutes. And currently it goes beyond 40 minutes certain times of the day. By making these changes, it's about consistent 40 minutes or less on this Route 9. So these are the changes we are making on these two routes. Okay, so the next route I would like to talk about is Route 4, and which is a Federal State University route. So this route is used by students who drive and also those who rely on transit. So students who live in Leominster who goes to the FSU, they join the Route 2 to the ITC. So once they get to ITC, we have every 20 minutes a bus coming to pick up students to campus. So it takes them from ITC. This is the ITC to campus. So for other students who also drive, park at the FSU parking lot. So the college, they join from after parking, they join the bus to college. So we end up serving students who even drive and students who don't drive. So for the students who drive, it becomes very useful, especially during the snow season. They like to park and wait for the bus to get on the bus to go to campus safely. So this is what this route does. And the changes we are not making any major change on this route, but we are looking forward to adding more bus shelters and other infrastructure on this route to serve the students. Okay, so the next route is Route 5 and 11. So currently we have this route being done by one bus. So we have one bus going from the ITC to the Claremont neighborhood in Fishbeck, and afterwards it continues to the Greatwood Lodge. And by looking at this lengthy route, we are trying to cut it down. So in a way to cut it down, we have two buses doing this route. So we have one bus moving from the ITC to the Claremont neighborhood, which is the Parkhill Plaza. So making one bus dedicated towards this service has reduced the time you have to travel on the route from 1 hour to about 35 minutes. That is massive improvement, which has increased the number of times the bus has to go around from the ITC to the Claremont neighborhood from about 17 times to about 21 times for the Route 5. And for the Route 11, we have a bus going on the Route 11 only for about 8 times within the whole day, but we are increasing it to about 21 times. So we have a lot of frequency on the Route 11 as well. This is massive improvement. And this is the ideal system we are trying to operate to make sure that we have more frequency for every rider to get on the bus. So it will get to a point in time in the ideal mass situation. And our ideal future is to make sure you guys not use our schedule, just show up at the bus stop and within less than about 15 minutes, as Scott mentioned, you have a bus to go to where you need to go to without wondering about you missing your bus. So yeah, so that's how we are going to. Okay. So this is how the schedule will look like for the Route 5. So previously it was about 17 times, but it's been increased to about 21 times for the Route 5. And the 11 as well, we have it's increased about 150% from the current schedule. Okay, so the next route is the Route 6 and 7. So this route goes from the Frederick High School to Lunenburg Walmart. So currently it takes an hour to go from the high school to Lunenburg to finish this loop. But looking at the times, we had this presentation at the Fishbeck with the Fishbeck mayor, and then she understood that during the bell times, this currently reflects the bell time. So we go there during early morning, during the time the students need the bus to go to campus, and late in the afternoon to make sure that we have to increase the frequency between the hospital to Walmart. So now it's been improved from about 1 hour duration on the bus to about 40 minutes. So this is also the improvements on this route. Okay, so this is the route Scott was talking about, Route A, which is in Leominster, or the entire route is in Leominster. It starts from Monument Square, and now we have two new stops. We go to Hannaford, then from Hannaford, we take a left turn to French Hills neighborhood through Fish Street. So once we go through Fish Street, we take another left onto other streets, then we continue. So as we met the mayor, he mentioned about people having to hold their baskets to shopping and all that. So we saw it as best possible to add this loop to make sure we have people to use the transit service and they don't have to walk, especially during the harsh weather conditions, to go to wherever they need to go to live their lives. And so with the French Hills, we are going on Fish Street. So within a quarter of a mile, the entire neighborhood, we have a bus coming by to get on to go to the shopping plaza. But and currently we don't service the Hannaford, but with this improvement, you have access to Hannaford. So wherever you are in the system, you can connect to our system to get to Hannaford. And if you're in the French Hills neighborhood, you can also join right away from on Fish Street to Market Basket and the return. And also another change we are making on this route is to discontinue the Damrosio Eye Center, because we realize we have almost no ridership, and we have almost 70% of the people using this route are between Monument Square and the mall. So that it's better to service more people and have more frequency between Monument Square and the plaza. So that's to also increase ridership. Then with the extension to the French Hills neighborhood, we have opportunities to service the community needs. And during our survey by MART, as Scott mentioned, of over 150 people who responded to the survey, the people mentioned that we need to extend a lot of our routes to inner city and part of Leominster, because Leominster residents complain that we don't serve in the inner sections of Leominster. So these additions adds up to a way to respond to those comments. We added the French Hills neighborhood and also service Hannaford as part of our system. So these are all the routes I talked about. So routes 1 and 3. We have one moving from ITC to Monument Square. Then we have another bus going on the opposite direction, which is route 1 and 3. And we have route 2 moving from ITC to Monument Square and continues from Monument Square to Walmart. That's route 9. Then we have route 5 moving from ITC to the Fairmont neighborhood in Fishbay. And we have route 6 and 7. Route 6 limited service to the high school to reflect the bell times of students, then to improve the frequency on route 6 and 7. Then route 8, we have added the Cleveland neighborhood as part of the service to extend service to residents in the city. So these are the improvements we have made, so we can note down the comments and we'll discuss afterwards.
That's right. And so as you can see, there were a lot of changes there we just discussed, and some of the routes are changed fairly significantly for the better. Others have some minor tweaks and so on. Again, this is an evolutionary process. This is not a revolutionary process. We're not going to come in here and totally overturn the apple cart. We want to do things gradually and get feedback and begin things in a process that makes sense. One of the things which these next couple of slides, I'm going to talk about some of the changes we have and some of the services we have. We're putting in a lot of our new bus shelters, and we can see there's 7 that have been put in so far in Leominster. There's one at 840 North Main Street, one at 747 Central Street. You can see the one that's in the photo at 1019 Central Street. These are a lot more aesthetically appealing than our older shelters, and we're getting some very good feedback on that. Then at 636 Main Street, we have one at the Senior Center in Leominster and 2 at Monument Square. So those are the places where those are existing. We just got a new Safe Streets and Spaces grant, and we have 15 more shelters that we're going to get from that. So in our communities, and certainly if you have places you'd like to have us put some, let us know, because we review that and look at our ridership and take that under consideration. And our next slide is here's some of our other services beyond our fixed bus routes. And we have our ADA services that help disabled people throughout the entire city of Leominster. We have household and aging services that help people over 60 and disabled people. We also have our what's called a monthly ride service. People mainly use this to go to work. They pay a flat fee and they book rides based on how many rides they want each month. And then we have our evening ride service, and this is a really great service because it picks up when our buses stop. So it gives you like full day coverage, and for $2, you get rides curb to curb where you want to go. It goes from 8 p.m. to midnight, and it's something that runs 7 days a week. So that's a valuable service people seem to really like. And then we have some grants that many people don't know about called MART Connects, and you can go to those 7 communities that you see there in and out of 20 miles. So like here and for example, Bolton, Devens, Lancaster, Milton, Shirley, and Stowe. Those towns, if you want to go from here, that's about a 10-mile ride to many of those communities. That it would cost $5 to go there. It's a mileage-based program. It costs $4 if it's under 10 miles. If it's 11 to 15 miles, and 5. And if it's 16 to 20 miles, it's $7 a ride. But you think about that, compare that to a Uber or something. And if you want to go to work, say, for example, in Devens, this thing operates from 5:30 in the morning to 10 p.m. at night. So it really is something for a really affordable way you can get places with this. And that could be another valuable service many people don't even know about. So I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about going forward. We really want to build a better market. We're looking at this once we take your feedback tonight and a few other things we're working on, probably implementing these things around the end of September, beginning of October. And then we also want to, though, not just do this and be done. We really want to engage in a process where we do a much better job listening to the public and getting feedback. And we want to really build a better new market. And to do that, we're going to be very much interacting in what we're going to call a continuous improvement process, where every 6 months we want to start meeting in the cities and find out in towns that we work with how we can better serve those towns and cities. And that's something we really have an obligation to do here at MART. And so we want to really be different. We don't want to sit back and like, okay, we're going to leave our roots the same for the next 2 years and expect ridership to go up. That doesn't make sense. And we're really working to build a place that we can work in partnership with our community. And if you think about it, the mission statement is to serve people by getting them where they need to go to lead their lives. Well, the only way we're going to do that is meet with people that use our services to understand what their needs are. So that's going to be a commitment that we have, and we really want to do a better job in what we're doing in this respect. So you will have a 14-day comment period to get back to us with any of your thoughts after this meeting. That would last until the 26th of August. There's our email right there and our telephone number at MART. If you want to get in touch with any of us on this slide, that'll get our call center. And I'm going to ask Chastity to translate this one slide, please, as well.
Sí, muy buenas tardes. Tienen 14 días para poder comentar sobre nuestra reunión el día de hoy. Tienen hasta el 26 de agosto de 2025. También se pueden comunicar con nosotros en nuestro correo electrónico contactmart@mrta.us. También pueden comunicarse con nosotros por teléfono al 978-345-7711. Abajo pueden ver los números de teléfono de nuestro administrador Bruno Fisher, nuestro asistente administrador Scott Rich, que acaba de hablar con nosotros, y nuestros planes de tránsito, Michael Yobo. Gracias por eso. Buenas tardes.
Thank you, Chastity. Thank you, Chastity. And now there's the part of this meeting that is the most important. We want to hear from all of you, and you have the forum now to ask anything. Yes, and if you want to do us a favor and pass this microphone out to people and answer questions, please.
So something I saw on one of the maps that you guys had was, it looked like, and this wasn't discussed, it looked like you had the stop for the commuter rail removed. Was that correct?
Say it again, please.
It looks like the stop for the commuter rail in North Leominster was removed.
That was one of the stops that we did do that because of our ridership going there was just almost non-existent.
Gotcha.
And there is a stop only about, what's it, Michael, 200 feet or so. It'll show you this on the map.
So. This. Like, which one and the mountain?
Oh, you want me to do it?
Yeah. Okay, so this section, yeah, it's about 200 feet from Main Street. And now we have a shelter at that location. So you can stop there and walk to the station. And what we are trying to do on this route is to keep the schedule consistent, because currently we have the parade going towards the same route, but not going to that section, which is about 200 feet, and it's also a difficult turn. So sometimes turning around takes extra minutes and extra time at that small section. And we realize it's about 200 feet and it's very well coupled. We have sidewalks, pedestrian movement. Even if you're in a wheelchair, you have ADA access to the station. So that's why we are eliminating this small section to have more time to go around on Route 1. So yeah, that is the change.
Okay, thank you.
What, like, just you, I think like a landmark, I can't really see.
It's at the traffic light around the traffic intersection, yeah, just before the traffic,
Right there.
yeah. And it's a walkable distance, about 200 feet, to get there, so.
Mentioned that it's non-existent, right?
Currently, we have Route 1 and 3 using this loop, but it's only Route 1 that goes into it. But we have riders on Route 3 who also stop there, but the bus doesn't go there on Route 3. So making Route 1 look like Route 3 would make the schedule generally consistent without having that stop on Route 1. And it's walkable from the bus and shelter there. So that's why we're making this change on Route 1 to make the schedule with it very consistent.
Okay, other questions, comments? Anyone would like to make?
I disabled, I have vertigo, so I can't drive. And I used to drive quite often in cities, very comfortable with it. And oftentimes I would take public transportation because I'm huge. It can be very efficient, it's better, and this and that. Lived in DC and other big cities. Here, it's strange because it seems so antiquated, and I'm happy to see some of the efficiency coming into play with the worker groups. So I'm all for even if I could drive, right? So I think hopefully your ridership will come up, and the bus drivers are amazing. They're awesome. Well, I've had great experiences in the meeting. So I'm excited about the efficiency and to be working on some of the routes. I'm on bus route 8. My home is actually right off of Mechanic Street. From the Fidelity Building down toward Gold Farm, and then it goes to Target. So I actually get it right on Mechanic Street. The question that I have, and I've asked the bus drivers, the one thing that would help me personally, but then I also think as a city, could it stop at Orchard Hills Athletic Park? And that's not to be fluffy, but I noticed that there's a lot of seniors and other people that do attend the Orchard Hills Athletic Park, not just to work out rah, but because there's a therapy section, little business there, and there's other multi-purpose things going on at Orchard Hills, since it goes right by there. So the bus drivers are going to ask and put that forward as a request. And I know that that's an interesting, sometimes I'm the only one on a bus, but yet when it goes down toward the mall and everything, it's very busy. But I know going up to Market, sometimes I'm the person there. But Orchard Hills, to me, I think, might be a nice public access stop for many types of people to demographics.
Well, thank you for that suggestion. That's why we're here tonight, to learn these things. And certainly Melissa, and if you could see if that would make sense. Melissa is our operating company of our buses and and
It's like a few seconds now, it's not after that too long, you know what I mean?
yeah, no, this is something we're here to learn this stuff and study these things. And we may, this could be something, again, if it's a proposed route stuff to talk about tonight, that might be something, if we see some ridership or if the public is asking, we could also do this possibly as like a pilot. Yeah, and test this for a few months or something and see if we publicize it and people are gonna try to use it. And then that is something we would consider after we look into it, yes.
It's different. That's what I was, thank you. It'd be a win-win. Yes. And I noticed that the senior center and the disability stand, which I do take from MART, and I thank you for that. That's huge, what a service that is for us. But I noticed that a lot of people that attend Orchard Hills or the seniors or whatever, different disabilities, whatever, multi-purpose, a lot of them tap into the senior, the disability band, and have to schedule that, so it may free up that to be better utilized if it also now stops at because that's a frequent band from disabilities. So just to kind of
That could make sense to do. We'll certainly look into it and see if it's something that makes sense to do. No, you're most welcome for suggesting. You're welcome.
I'm gonna use this now. So I'd like to talk about the 2-9 slide again. I'm not sure if this is user law, and I'm just wondering if it's route 2 is every 20 minutes. That's the express that you're talking about?
Correct.
Okay, so the regular 2-9 is a 40-minute loop. It's almost like one bus route when you caught.
Exactly, yeah. I think we've kind of thought about that too. It doesn't make sense really in the real world, stuff like that, but there's a reason for why it's got to do with reporting routes and, I don't want to get technical, but it's like something we have to have that and it could affect like our funding if we're cutting, changing, but it does make sense, for having that way as a person looking at it. So.
Absolutely. I like how you're always thinking about people in the industries and GITEX in industrial park and making those loops. And they seem to be, you make those loops when people are either trying to get to work or then leaving. I think that's great. I happen to notice you get the little AIS logo there. That's like an 8-acre building with about 500 people. Have you reached out to that organization?
We did meet with them. We had a ride service that we were going there on. But then we couldn't get this was with vans, we couldn't get other companies around there servicing that, using the service. We have like our subscription service you saw on that slide earlier. They use heavily at AIS to get individual people to work. But that's one of the things we looked at, that Tucker Drive area. And, we considered, should we have a bus going in there and adding it to our route? So we are aware of that. Kind of consider that because I've been there, met with the CEO and people about a number of things that we're doing there several times actually, and that is a huge one of the I don't know if it's the biggest, it's certainly one of the biggest employers in Leominster. Number one, yeah, and so that would probably merit some more attention for us to put some stuff in to serve that area better.
Yeah, because there's almost like you could dart into that road, you get on the 117. And
Yes.
it's almost the same thing, and it might just encourage people to realize that they don't have to walk down the street. And
Yeah.
do that a certain time.
Well, I see everyone was taking notes on this, so that will definitely serve me something we'll think about.
But anyways, I like the route very much. It's the one I use all the time. Even this morning, on my bike on the front, I drove up, went up to Fitchburg, I did the rail trail. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for that, sharing that. It's great. Okay, anyone else here? Thank you. So you're being quiet. There must be some things you'd like to ask. Doesn't have to be even on a mixed bus route. It's going to be other things related to MART.
Not a question, just a comment, sort of similarly what was already shared. In my 20s, I lived in the city, and it was really hard for me in Boston to learn all the bus routes, the train routes and all the things. And here in Leominster, I'm just really excited, both as a city councilor and as a resident, to see you coming out and do these listening sessions and really getting the input, because as you know, people now are working 1, 2, 3 jobs. Times are tough, and so I just want to say that I appreciate you coming out and, you know, getting everyone's input so you can provide a better service. So thank you so much for that.
And I will also say the young lady sitting behind you, not Melissa, but Danny, she does travel training for us. So she can actually go and help you understand our services firsthand. If you want somebody to teach you how to use a bus, go out and show you how you do things like flag down a bus. You know, what do you do to understand our route maps? What do you do to get started? Like if you want to do something like to be in someone that may be disabled, being an ADA, and so on, getting signed up for that. She can help with things like that. So, you know, we do have some things that can help people really use our services if you're unfamiliar. Like we have all those other services I just talked about. Well, each of them has a little bit different how they work. So how do you get eligibility? How do you do things like know what to do? Like in the evening ride service, what do I do to do? We got to call our office the day before by 4:30 to book a ride. So, you know, and it costs $2. That's not a free service. Because that's different than our stuff that falls, and most of our services are free, but the few of those things in the chart are not. So that I would take advantage of that if you have any questions about our services, because that's something that can be very valuable. We can go to presentations like at a council on aging or some of the groups around here that we work with, like Work Inc. or whatever. We can go through things like that.
You kind of made me think about the disability community, and you may already do this, but I was curious. I mean, I suppose every kid at the high school can actually utilize this if they don't have a vehicle, learning how to, you know, navigate things, but also the kids, you know, on IEPs, accessing special education. I didn't know if you just kind of put the idea in my head with Leominster Public Schools, to let them know that you have this free service, because then they can kind of help work on independence for, you know, some of the young adults they have in the school. So you just made me think of that when you mentioned the disability community. Thank you.
Yeah, I know Bruno, you schools that we work with. How do you want to make a comment on that? I can give it the microphone. Bruno's our administrator, by the way. I've never met him before.
Good evening. I'm officially the administrator of MART. Yeah, we do have been doing quite a bit more with the disability community. We also, just as kind of peripheral to this, we manage, somewhat related to the transit operation. We manage the state, the Executive Office of Health and Human Services, through the HSE office. We manage probably about 85% of the state's human service, transportation, that's mass health, people going to workshops and the like. So we do quite a bit of that. Again, managed through many vendors. MART also does that internally, goes through our operator. We do quite a bit with the disability community. We have actually a person from Seven Hills Foundation that is part of our board members, advisory board members. And so I think we're going to try to do more of that. I know Yasmin has been doing more of that, doing outreach, and going to visit whether it's groups or individuals that one-on-one, because we think a lot of us, like Scott was saying, a lot of us come when people just look at driven in the city and look at some of those system maps, and it's like, how would we know where to get anywhere? So yes, the other ones that we've been trying to get out to more, really understand, how to use them, get around the bus with them, read the schedule. And I think that's a great idea, is that we've been working with the school. We talk with Fitbit the same way, about trying to get out and see more of that. People, the more they understand it, the more likely they have to use it.
Parents with their university and the teens and young adults all be excited, because it's a very scary proposition. You know, when you have your love on you want to, foster that independence, but make sure that they're safe and that they know how to live with it.
Yeah, you want them to have their independence, but safely. Yeah, understood.
Thank you, Bruno. Other things, yes.
Everything with that, because I think that would enhance and increase your right to more awareness, but Also, those other programs that you have, I kind of stumbled upon some of them, and one of them in a discussion with one of the bus drivers. But I'm already interested in two others, one going out to Lancaster. I mean, that's amazing, that, and not only businesses out that way, but there's churches, there's, you know, it's great that you go to other towns. So I guess getting the word out to the public and kind of changing the mindset is a huge hurdle, right? Of taking ridership or public transportation.
Yeah,
But
people tend to think of us as like certain things, you know, like if you, a lot of the seniors, older adults, I should say, I get the green terminology, I know that I shouldn't call people seniors. That is something I get scolded by professors for saying that. It's pure permanent to me. The stuff around a lot of our councils on aging, they think, oh, well, the MART does this with their councils on aging. Like we were meeting with the Fitchburg Housing Authority recently, and like there was such a lack of understanding of all the other things we have. And you can literally get to so many more places, like we have a Whistler shuttle. If you go to our agency, yeah, we have in Boston shuttle. You know, we have services that connect to the stuff I mentioned, the MART Connects grants that go 20 miles into those 7 towns. You know, it's not just fixed busing, you know, it's a lot more those things, and you know, Gardner going to the COA to do a presentation 2 weeks from now, and we're going to talk about all this stuff, you know, and there's really an opportunity that's significant if people understand. So we need to do a much better job educating and promoting everything that we have. And we certainly, our marketing has improved significantly. Like we have a new website, Facebook page, we have a new CRM tool that if you want to sign up for any communications, customer relationship management tool, that stands for, that you can sign up and you can get any new information from Mark. We'll email you if you want to sign up and opt in. So that's another new thing we've started to help people, and that seems to be getting traction. We just started, we have about 2,000 people that are already getting information.
I'm sure these different children, you know, the young teens, whatever, that's just enhanced ridership. But I may have missed on the map, and me also being a grandma who can't drive, getting around with toddlers is really cool and important. But going to Doyle Field was an interest for us with our family dynamic component, and then to the splash park. And just to having access, because we already can go to the stores and businesses, but getting to activities from, you know, or meet cool hotspots in town or family activities. I wasn't quite sure how that crosses in with Oxford. Does it stop at the splash park and the trail? Does it stop?
The splash pad, with the budget.
What's that? Office.
Yeah, but I don't think we do, but certainly we do.
I'm not trying to be greedy, it's just that's a family, big picked up family, and it's also based off the little softball fields, so it's not a big flat. Yeah.
Makes good sense because right now you would probably fill the bus every hour.
Right. Not just a job.
We were looking, oh, that's what we want to hear. Tell us how to do our job.
Yeah, we were looking to.
Well, thank you for allowing us to make as many comments as we have to. I'm actually taking the list of shuttle about, so we just happened to mention it. A lot of times I end up at Union Square and then walking probably closest to the car, that area. Trying to, so usually I always have a backpack, and it's a little bit more flexibility about making a loop of going by the library and the common. Might be something that could be done with the Worcester shuttle.
Yeah, we were looking to.
Thank you. And I noticed there's a surgical, so you hit on the hospitals, which is great. There's a surgical center go right off of Old Star Boulevard. We can talk about that later.
Yeah, that could be another one. Thank you. Great information to share. This is really excellent, really helping us. Yes,
So, I'm currently one of the ADA partners of one of those small buses that they should hold drivers, but one time when I was driving for my therapy, when the drivers told me a bad word and I knew I was kind of shocked and surprised. So I told Mayor Dean what happened, and Mayor Dean told the bus company, and they said that was less than part of, I didn't know what to do. So next time, but now I know to tell Mayor Dean right away and, help him before.
sorry that you went through that, experience. That's certainly not our intention. Our driver never something like that. Anyway, yeah, and Mayor, we have a very close relationship. And you tell him, that he'll get on to us right away. We will look into this and, deal with anything that is appropriate to reprimand someone or something if they do something, because that's the last thing we ever want. Yeah, well, but you have our slides, our contact information now too, so you can, the phone number to call, email stuff to use, that, or if you want to join the CRM tool, if you went to the homepage or our website at mrta.us, you can join that and you can get information and you can email stuff to us, things that way, if you're in face. Yeah, that was a perfect example of, that probably will get going to the top, probably is the best way to get, our attention and immediate response, so that if you have that access, I would definitely take it in. So you're most welcome. Anything else anyone would like to add here tonight? Some of you, we're open to any MART related things you want to discuss. Yes.
Because I don't have my glasses on, I apologize. Did you mention that it goes to Leominster High School? I apologize if I missed that.
It goes there periodically at the bell times, like in the key times to pick up students.
Oh,
It's not, we've had it before running there much more frequently, and it was delaying our routes by it's a long ride to get there. So, that, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry.
Leominster High School.
Oh, that's. Oh.
Yeah, so
Go ahead.
you are going to Leominster High School currently.
I'm correct. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but we do page break, so far we don't do direct Leominster because of the road, the times are difficult currently for the drivers to be at time, so we looked into it to add. It's like having the high school and adding it to our existing routes, delayed our bus over more than 20 minutes. So we try to eliminate that for the meantime. In the future, we are looking into using a catalog to join them to Monument Square, that they can connect to other areas. But currently adding it to making a deviation of the routes is difficult. The operating company, when they start testing with some drivers, and it extended the route genuinely. So we don't currently have direct service to the Leominster High School.
Yeah, interesting, because I was thinking about that, but obviously they have school buses. We do have a large homeless population, or unhoused population. My apologies, and just thinking about all the extracurricular activities, so when you were talking about thinking outside the box, I don't even know how large the need is. She was mentioning it, and I was realizing we do, like I said, have a large unhoused population. We do have a lot of extracurriculars in addition to sports, so chorus and things like that. So just putting it out there, it may not even be a huge need, but it may be something I want to, talk to them about thinking.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That would.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Yes.
So you just, to the industry and motor vehicles.
Right.
Okay, well, for now, as that place continues to develop, and then there's new housing being there too. I don't know if it's full or not. It's been building there. So
we saw some building. We saw some building in that area, and it looks like it's fairly higher income building. So, if there was like a request from the communities, that could be something we could do and continue. But it looked like it's probably like $2,300 plus, for rents in there. So there might not, most people probably have cars and so, but we don't want to ever not serve something that would get us ridership. So that can be something we contemplate. If there were contacted by, people living there and say, hey, can you get us rides? That we definitely would review that sort of thing. So, all right, here's your chance to ask any burning question you have about our services. So is there anything else, in terms of what you've experienced with MART or any of the other services we have? Yes, sir.
Thank you. Do you expect that you'll be able to accommodate bicycles, the buses eventually?
We can already, as long as our buses have ramps in front. And, that is something that, they can put bikes on the records. And not every vehicle we have has them, but the majority of our vehicles, do, we had a question on bikes, Melissa, so, what percentage would you say of our vehicles have bike racks that? Can you, oh, gosh, like,
I would say, and each bike rack can hold up to 2 bikes. So all of the buses, all of the large city transit buses have bike racks on all of the vehicles, and then we do have some. MART has a little smaller vans that are equipped to take bikes.
The reason I asked is I checked the website a couple of weeks ago. And it said that we can't, they're gonna, said the bicycles aren't allowed on buses. I thought something like that is what I thought I saw.
Directly inside the bus, yes,
Okay.
but the racks are on the front
Perhaps you can clarify that.
on the website. Okay.
Take a look at.
yeah, John, we could look into that, maybe change the wording on the website, so there's no confusion of whether they can do something like that, but thank you for your question. Anything else, here for us tonight? We could go like an auction, or we're gonna go once, and we're gonna go twice, and, we can, yes.
So basically, so there's a group, if around change the structure or something that's one of the better places, I mean, obviously, but is that one of the better places?
Yeah, we usually, like, this young man over here usually gets these alerts out, Josh is his name, and he'll put it on our website, he'll put it on our Facebook, he'll put it on our, our CRM would probably send that out. So that's like in all, as many things as we can, we get it out there, so.
First place would be, banner on top of our website. And then if it's something really intense, we do that CRM out ahead of time. We do construction, shut a road down for a couple of weeks, morning and afternoon. So Facebook is our main social media that we use for gets the most attention and shares. We also do LinkedIn and Instagram. Also, our Passio system, our Passio those of you who track the passes to see the arrival, it has messages to go to the message section, all the construction details, all the details on the routes are stated there until they go back to the existing routes. So that is the location I will even find where we have construction in each and every route. So you know, yeah, it's got passive code.
I don't know if we can have access to it.
Yeah, so if you go to the message section, it tells you all the details in the system. Yeah.
This guy, we're gonna hire up front here to be a new marketing person for the Cocoa. We're gonna hire you for outreach. So, All right, anything else, Sarah? Yeah, okay, so that's something tonight Art will be offering. If you do need a ride home, we'll have vans outside to take you, because our buses are, ending at this time, so, feel free to take advantage of that. Melissa, where's the van gonna be? Okay. Okay. All right, so we'll get that for those who need it. And anything last for the good of the order here tonight before we wrap? Well, on behalf of MART, again, we really appreciate you being here tonight. I know personally, and I'm sure all my associates are really impressed with all your comments and feedback I shared tonight, because it was great. I mean, that's why we came here. There you gave us some valuable ideas. We're definitely going to look into all of them and hopefully make some changes to some of the things we talked about tonight to better serve what we're trying to do here in Leominster. So again, thanks for your input and coming tonight, braving the little heat we had here, and have yourself a wonderful evening. So thank you very much.